Hey Chris, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good.
Thanks for willing to do this.
We need this. Absolutely, my pleasure. This is an honor. Very exciting.
That's the first interview you've ever done, right? I couldn't find anything else.
Uh yeah, certainly the first recorded interview.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, this is a big day for me.
So start from the beginning. You're originally from Iowa.
I am. I'm from a little town called Sheldon in northwest Iowa. Yeah.
And was it always the plan to come out to LA?
Hmm. I didn't know what the plan was. Actually, I think the plan was probably New York for a long time. And I actually did live in New York for just about a year in my early 20s. And then I got into grad school at University of California, Irvine, and did an MFA in acting down there. And yeah, just kind of thought, oh, this is a nice place to be. I'll stick around here for a while. So yeah, yeah.
And was it acting in general, or did you want to do voiceover primarily when you started?
Yeah, no, voiceover kind of came later. It was, I mean, it was, I think this is probably true for a lot of uh voice actors, but it was always kind of in the back of my head. Like I did this acting competition back in college in undergrad, and there was a judge who was like, "Okay, that was a really great scene. So just so you know, you will do voice acting. Like there's just no question about it. You're just gonna do that." I think she was just saying like, you have a very mellifluous voice, and you've got a radio voice, a deep voice. Um, and by the way, as a tangent, I should say I kind of hate telling that story because I don't want any aspiring voice actors out there to think that they have to have some kind of you know uh quote unquote good voice. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody can do it, yeah. But that's just kind of the stereotype, like deep voice, radio voice. Um, and then yeah, no, I just kind of I was interested in stage acting mostly. And then a buddy of mine, Ethan, said, "Hey, he got into voice acting before I did." And he said, "You really got to get serious about this. You gotta make a demo and start talking to agencies and stuff like that." And then I took a class, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, this is it, man. I love this. This is my thing. I want to go that direction." And that was just like, I don't like 8 years ago or something like that. So yeah. Yeah.
And do you have a special story of how you got to SAG?
It was a McDonald's commercial. I think I booked a McDonald's radio commercial, and then um I think I got Taft Hartley'd in, and then I just thought, okay, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna join and pay the whatever it was, 3 grand or something like that. Enormous amount of money. But I scraped that together, and I thought, okay, this is the next step in my career, so I really gotta go for it. And yeah, that was also, I think, my first actual in studio proper voiceover job. And oh my gosh, it was so intimidating, so scary, like a big agency, studio, so professional, all the bells and whistles. And I was just so incredibly nervous. I feel like I blew it, but I don't know. The commercial aired, so I
Yeah.
guess it worked.
Well, it seems like now that you work in like all avenues of voiceover pretty much.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate to have, yeah, kind of a little bit of success in a whole lot of different areas. I just finished up an audiobook this morning, and yeah, I do commercials, radio and TV commercials here and there, and video games. And just a few months ago, my very first um animation, my first and only animation job with the Cuphead show
Yeah.
aired on Netflix. So yeah, I've even dipped a toe into that too. So yeah, I like it all. I mean, yeah, animation and and interactive video games are easily the most fun. I mean, it's just exciting when you leave a good session, you're just vibrating with like excitement, or I am at least, with excitement and joy and enthusiasm. It's just a blast. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
I've done a little bit of everything.
Has there been a case where you've had to significantly alter your voice for anything, or do you predominantly use your main like tone right now?
Yeah, there's been a couple, I guess. Well, yeah, one of the one of the most memorable and fun uh gigs I ever had was it's not even a named character, but I was in Resident Evil 8. And I got to do creature voices basically, or creature sounds. So you know, it was like I don't even know how it worked. I think what probably happened listening to or playing the game, it's like they took a number of actors recordings and then kind of like Frankenstein them together, and that became the Lycan's voices or sounds or whatever. But there's no spoken dialogue. It's just all, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, for 3 hours of just Lycan eviscerating someone, Lycan being uh cut in half with a chainsaw, Lycan being burned to death, and you know, it's just nonstop. So that was definitely different from my own voice. And it was like therapy leaving that session after it was just cleansing and awesome. But then I also did I had the great honor of voicing the main player character in a game called Spellforce 3 Fallen God, which is like an expansion for Spellforce 3. I think it's big in Europe. I don't know. I don't know anyone who's played it in the United States, but it was a huge, like it was like 30 hours of recording or something like that. Just
Oh,
an enormous dialogue heavy uh piece, and the whole thing was like really down here. And when you're doing that and you're trying to, and it was a very deep um complex storyline about like the death of this character's father and loss of faith and all that stuff. And but it was all in that very uh highly affected tone, which was awesome. But yeah, it was a serious challenge. So but yeah, but I think a lot of stuff is pretty much right around where I am right now.
hmm. And touching on that, the in regards to the projects that you listed, what do you think the darkest headspace you've had to go for voiceover is?
Darkest headspace. That's a good question. Um, there's probably a really obvious one that I'm forgetting. The one that's coming into my mind is, and it's almost counterintuitive, but I got to play the Combine Grunt soldiers in Half-Life Alyx. You know, easily the most, if you've ever played Half-Life, you know, you're just killing constant, you know, thousands of Combine grunts. But the whole thing with the grunt is that or with the Combine soldiers is that they have had a procedure done on, they're human beings who have had a procedure done on them to like enslave them or you
Yeah.
know become part of the Combine. So there's still humanity in there, but it's also like you. So that was, and the lines themselves were, you know, most of them were very just military chatter, but just with kind of that subtext of like, there's something inside me that wants to get out, but it can't, disturbing. But yeah, that's the one that pops into my mind.
Okay. And then, so speaking of Fire Emblem, when that came through, was it just a pretty normal audition?
I think so. It's been a few years already. I don't even remember auditioning for Mordecai. That might have been a case where I like auditioned for something else, and then they said, "Hey, we actually can you read for this?" Um, yeah, I don't even remember, but yeah, I think it was. It wasn't like I got grabbed off the street or anything. Obviously, there was an audition that led to it. Um, but yeah, I think it was relatively normal, um, and that was yeah, that was just a Mordecai is absolutely in my wheelhouse character. So yeah.
Was that Patrick directing you the first time? Do you remember?
No, I think for that, hmm, I think it was Danny at Cup of Tea,
Yeah.
directing Mordecai. Yeah, I'm almost positive that was it. I have worked with Patrick a few times. Who's I mean, they're both just incredibly awesome. But yeah, I don't think Patrick did that one. Yeah.
What about when he came back for the like Flame Festival thing?
Yeah, that was you know, you always often get to see that's the like holiday sort of
Yeah.
expansion thing or whatever. Um yeah, that was like that they usually show you an image of, hey, here's what this character looks like. And they showed us the costume. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy takes the award for most stylish character I've ever played. Yeah, that was awesome. I love Mordecai's so cool. I mean, I totally relate. He's like I said, he was in my wheelhouse. He's a huge dude. I am also you probably can't tell I'm sitting down. I'm a large mammal. I'm 6'8", like
Wow.
320. I'm a really big guy. But I'm also because of that, like my whole life, I've been eh, kind of trying to physically I can be an intimidating presence just because of that. But I've also always strove to be like as kind and always less intimidating. So very nice. But I've been described as I mean, I hated the term when I was a kid, but like my friends' parents would always be like, "Oh, Jason, he's a gentle giant," which is totally what Mordecai is. Obviously, he can do some damage, but yeah, I really liked playing him.
Were you aware of the franchise at all prior?
Kind of, I mean, tangentially, I had never played Fire Emblem before, but I was a Nintendo kid. That I owned all the consoles from NES way back in like the mid '80s, and so I'd always kind of I like read Nintendo Power magazine and stuff like so I read all about it, but I never actually played it until I got cast uh, in it, and then I kind of started messing around with it. Haven't put in loads of hours, but it's something I'm just really excited about it. I mean, it's such a cool franchise.
Mhm. And so when you got uh the Jafar skin for his like new edition, was that just given to you too, or
I think there was an audition. I think they sent an audition out like, "Hey, can you?" And this was previously Jafar was previously voiced by another actor whose
right?
name escapes me right now.
John Rubenstein.
Great. Yes. Um and so that was kind of like a rough voice match kind of thing. Like, hey, here's what we're going for. So yeah, I think I just kind of gave him my best shot, and that's always kind of a scary thing when you get a voice match or that type of like here's a character who's somebody else has played before because you listen to it and you're like, oh my god, this is so good, like I'm never going to be able uh to make it like that, and I'm also going to face the judgment of enormous Fire Emblem fans who are like, this is not the voice I know. I you know I'm not familiar with this, but yeah, cool character. And yeah, I think I just got the audition and sent it back, and they were like, "Hey, that sounds good."
Hmm.
So,
Well, I don't even know if you saw anything about it, but when that came out, I mean, there were a lot of people who couldn't even tell the difference between
oh, no
the
kidding.
yeah.
Oh, that's good, I guess. That's good. I got there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Was that Christian directing you for that or Caitlin?
Caitlin.
Okay.
Caitlin did Jafar. Yep.
Do you
Yep.
think that you can relate to Jafar at all? I know he's like the total opposite of Mordecai.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly fun to play, such a range between two characters in the same game. I am a professional assassin in my actual life, so absolutely I can. No, Jafar's an assassin, right, or something
Yeah.
like that. Okay, yeah. No, I can't really relate to him very much at all. He's very dark, very quiet, very reserved. Yeah, I am naturally none of those things. But of course, we're all everything, right? I mean, so it's in there somewhere. Just gotta dig around and find it a little bit.
And that was wasn't Tales of Arise directed at Cup of Tea too when you were in that?
Yeah, it absolutely was. Yes. Yep. I can't remember who directed that. Uh yeah, but it was Cup of Tea. Yep.
Was that also something that you like? Do you remember auditioning for that, or was that just
I do remember auditioning for that. Yes. I went into the studio. This was pre Panny, and uh yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was great. I mean, he's just the definition of big, bombastic, booming um character. And yeah, that was a blast. That was really fun.
it is interesting that you haven't done much anime stuff yet besides the video games.
I I do not know um uh how to reconcile that exactly. I know. It's kind of interesting. It's not something I've really chased. So,
Mhm.
it's I should, in fact. I mean, I'm a I I'm a anime fan. I shouldn't say that. I love the culture of it and everything. I am very, very thinly watched when it comes to uh most anime, but I mean, I think it's so cool, and just as an art form, it's beautiful and brilliant and wonderful. I'd love to be more involved. So, yeah, maybe this interview will inspire me to make a few calls and see what I can finagle.
Well, since I've been doing interviews for the Fire Emblem community too, I've noticed that a lot of people that are part of the game haven't done anime, but like that's being in Fire Emblem is their only anime credit, and they sound incredible. So it's interesting.
Oh, okay, good company. That's good. Thank you for letting me know that. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
So is there anything else that's upcoming that you're part of you can safely talk about?
There is nothing I am involved in that I can safely talk about. I'm afraid. There are things there are upcoming things that I would love to tell you all about, but soon enough. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, one thing I always do with cast member interviews is I type out like a line in chat and I ask them if they're open to doing it in character.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just some funny thing that I made up. It says Jafar.
Okay.
It's in the chat.
Okay, here we go. Okay, let me see if I can summon uh hmm, I am what is his line again? What's my go to? I have no heart. Nino has given me the task of baking a pumpkin pie. That's not something the angel of death has done before. Very, very seasonal, seasonally appropriate, Chris. Awesome.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
So my final question with interviews is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
I'm a simple man. Um, I think I just want people to remember me as the greatest voice actor who's ever lived. That's pretty much no. I, I I want my legacy to be. I just want to put what's awesome about uh Fire Emblem and voice acting in general, and I mean, it exists to delight people and bring joy and fascination and wonder um into their lives. And yeah, I just want my legacy to be having been a part of that in some small way. I think that's I think that's a worthy goal. So yeah, that's a great question though. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And is there anything that you want to say to the Fire Emblem community?
I want to say, hey, thanks for I mean I like I you asked earlier, were you familiar with Fire Emblem? My answer was kinda. I'm kind of slowly becoming more familiar, and it's just so cool. I mean the fandom and what this franchise and these games do for people, and how they just really excite people and enrich their lives and everything. So uh I'm very eager to get more involved and to become a bigger part of the fandom and the franchise itself. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that we got to do this.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a blast.
Nice. Have a good rest of your day then.
Thanks. All right. See ya.
Bye.